Hello and welcome to Draw Along with Dan. I'm Dan Lietha, cartoonist and illustrator, and today is our noon session. So we're going to do something a little different today. Now it's Dinosaur Week. We've been drawing dinosaurs all week long. Well, Monday and Tuesday. This is Wednesday. So I thought I would be a little more creative, and this one's going to teach you a little bit of something too from the Bible. And so I decided to draw an elephant, but that's not a dinosaur. But dinosaurs, as far as we know, aren't around anymore. We have skeletons and the fossils and such. And but yet there's similarities to animals that are alive today. And I'm not saying that they're related to each other. Evolutionists would have us believe that, but I believe God made everything its own family, its own kind. But he used similar structures sometimes in the different things that he created. So I think that we can use this elephant, which is a baby elephant right here, to help us to draw a sauropod dinosaur. And then there's some other interesting ins and outs of using an elephant to do that I want to talk about today too. If you look in the book of Job in the Bible, chapter 40, it talks about a creature called Behemoth. And the description of Behemoth is a creature that's very large, chief of the ways of God, probably the largest land animal that existed ever. And in the description, it talks about the muscles of its belly and all that sort of stuff. And then it talks about this tail that's like a cedar, a tail that's not just this little tail, it's really huge, like a tree, and it moves it like a cedar. And so that I think that that's talking about a dinosaur that's something like this. Okay, so look at the body structure though of this dinosaur. I think that we could probably use it in a way of general reference to help us to draw a sauropod dinosaur. Now, it's interesting that I'm doing that with an elephant because some people that believe that the earth was millions of years old look at that description of Behemoth in the book of Job and they think, man and dinosaurs didn't live together. So it must have been an animal that we have on the earth today that's very large. And so they pick on an elephant or they pick a hippopotamus and they say that Behemoth was probably one of those type of animals. You'll find that in the footnotes in some Bibles. Okay, and just remember that the footnotes are not the inspired part of the scriptures. So neither of these animals have tails like a cedar. You'll see that right there. Okay, so again, it just offers me a point to bring that up. Okay, so elephant and hippopotamus are not sauropod dinosaurs. They're not Behemoth for sure. And but there's some structure that we can borrow from these big animals to draw another big animal. So in fact, I think I want to make this a baby sauropod. So, and my friend from Canada has chimed in. So there he is. Hello, good to see you, Jeffrey. All right, and let's fix my screen here, and then let's get drawing. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to break down the shapes of this elephant to help us to draw our dinosaur. Now, there's parts of this we don't have to draw, obviously, because the head is very different and the tail is very different. So, but the middle part is what we're interested in. And I think this could be a technique that you would use for at least reference, or maybe even if you want to trace and then alter, you can do that sort of thing too. So this could be a fun experiment. I've not done this yet, so this is kind of a first time right out of the chute. So we'll see how it goes. In the comments after this is done, let me know if this succeeds or fails. All right, so the shape of the baby elephant is basically an oval. So we've got that, and then the leg starts right about there. Goes up and around and then down. So, and again, I like to draw the circles for that. That's attach point right there. We get down and then over. I love how he's taking a step too. So we've got this baby elephant foot, and then we see the bottom of the foot. So break that down like that. And then the other leg, just like that. And then it kind of disappears into the body right there. So we'll take a hint from that to draw our sauropod dinosaur. And then the neck will go out where the head is right there. So, and then the other leg on the other side is right there. Now the feet of the elephant and the sauropod dinosaur are different, but we can take some liberties today. That knee is right in there somewhere. The leg's straightened out. And then that tail, of course, we're going to draw where the tail would go right here. Another interesting thing about the sauropod dinosaurs is if you see... Dolores. All right, this is how I make an armature for sculpting also. Yep, good technique there. Borrowing God's design or using God's design as reference for something else that God designed anyway, right? So that's great. So that's the section where the tail would go. That's the section where the head would go. I think we've got the legs. So that's all we really need from the baby elephant for that. So let's take our rough sketch. And again, this is a little different today from what I usually do. We're going to reduce that down somewhat, but we're going to add the tail and the head, the neck. Now, I don't have reference for that to look at. I've got some models here in my studio that I might reference a little bit, if you can see that too well, but that's a Diplodocus. My other one is a Brachiosaurus, and I don't know if this would be either one of those, but boy, the proportions on the Diplodocus, the tail end of this is really, really big. So maybe what we can do, it's kind of funny because the Brachiosaurus is the opposite. The Brachiosaurus has this huge front end, and the Diplodocus has a bigger hind end. So maybe this will just be a generic sauropod. We could add some weight to the back end there and kind of beef that up a little bit. You could change the size of the legs too. So let's and I'm not going to redraw this. I'm just going to use what I traced here to ink over the top of today. So in fact, what I could do is duplicate this layer and then put this over here for later, if I need that for later. And then I've got my small dinosaur or my elephant reference up there too, so that will be useful. Again, I'm kind of making this up as I go, folks. Oh, what I was going to say about the tail on these creatures is, if you look at the early artwork for dinosaurs, the artists, again, working with very limited information, would make the tail drag on the ground, like these big tails just dragged on the ground. And later on, they discovered, hey, wait a minute, we see the tracks of these things, but there's no drag markings from the tail. So the tail must not be up or down on the ground. It must be up in the air. Wait, what did scripture say? It moves its tail like a cedar tree. A cedar tree doesn't, I would assume that doesn't mean it drags it around like a cedar tree. It moves the tail. It probably swings it around in the air. So I think scripture gave us a bit of a clue there about something that we caught on to later. So draw this straight like that. Again, this is a baby. So maybe we can make that a little bit smaller. It was a baby elephant, and after I put the title of this video together, I thought, hey, wait a minute, we could use this to do a baby sauropod. So, and then for the neck, put the head up there. Something like that. And let's zoom in on the head. I'll look at my reference here for my models for the head a little bit, but I'm not going to make this a Brachiosaurus. Although the Brachiosaurus is one of the biggest sauropod dinosaurs. Let's get the head structure, basically. All right, something like that. Although for the baby, you can make bigger eyes. Dolores is making another comment. Let's see. She said, generic is good as species overlap a great deal. Dinos are like dogs. Lots of features in the same species. Yep. There's lots of common features. So excellent point. And you could always say maybe this is a species of sauropod we haven't discovered yet. if someone really tried to pin me to the mat on that one, they would say, hey, it's a cartoon sauropod. I don't have to really identify which oops, I wanted my eraser, which sauropod it is. But whatever behemoth was, it was humongous. And it was the chief of the ways of God. And God was going out of his way to impress Job with all the stuff that he had done to humble Job, to realize Job cannot contend with the Almighty. And some people try to say, well, hey, wait a minute, Behemoth was an imaginary or a fictional type of creature. But if God's trying to impress Job with all the things that he's done, that doesn't make sense. Hey, Job, I've thought of this imaginary creature. Aren't you impressed? So Behemoth was real, and it lived at the same time as people, and I believe it was a dinosaur. All right, so there's our little baby, and because of the neck, I'm going to move my elephant reference over a little bit. Oops. Layers are your friends. There we go. Enlarge him a little bit. So again, you've got the 4 legs, and you've got the large body, and you've got the walk. You can get that position for the walking down, which is important. That's something that, I mean, you can try to imagine that and draw it, but when you get an actual animal that has the actual physics and structure and all that working out, you can add a level of realism to your drawings that even if it's a cartoon, it works because that's how it is in life. So I think that's a very useful thing. Oops, I got to change my I'm inking now, so let's go to the let's start with the back leg. Little wrinkles there, and where the back of the knee would be. The foot, the feet on the dinosaurs get more claws, I guess. So something like that. And then I love the little wrinkle marks. And that leg kind of disappears into the body there, so it's not really clearly defined. And then the tail again comes up. I might make it go up further even more when I finish that tail. But our sketch lines get us in the ballpark, and you can modify it as you go. At least that's what I do. The back of that heel comes up, and then there would be some shadow that would be thrown onto the leg back there. If you watched my video from yesterday, I talked about my dog, Shadow, our dog. And my wife came home from the vet with the news that our dog, our little Shih Tzu, has a intervertebral something condition that is common with those dogs. And Shadow is not walking real well right now. I think he's got a bit of paralysis in his hind quarters because he wobbles when he walks. One of his legs, he tries to use it, and then his whole hind end just moves over it, so he wobbles he walks crooked, and it's very sad to watch. So that's been a thing this week. But every time I mention the word Shadow on here, I think of my dog. And during these live broadcasts, you have to consider the things that'll make noise in your area when you're drawing. And he's got this collar, and he likes to jump up on the thing here by the window, and so I have to kind of defeat his ability to make noises. All right, so I'm just following the outline of the rough sketch, and then looking at the reference, trying to include some of the little wrinkle lines and such. Now, this front leg right here is priceless because it's got that underneath the foot look to it. Now I'm going to do this to kind of help me know where the claws are. So I'm trying to make it a little different than the foot of the elephant. And then I'll put some, but just that angle of the foot adds so much to this, I think. Another leg back there. And then I'm going to do the same thing with that. Make those longer claws. Elephant toes are fun to draw all by themselves, but I don't want this to be an elephant, so. And then the back of it, let's see what our models do. I can borrow some things from the, well, that one's pretty flat. Sometimes there's more of a hunch where the shoulder or something will come up. And that one's fairly flat too. It doesn't have what I'm looking for, but let's go up with the neck. I'd like to put some folds and stuff underneath where the head rests. And then we'll come back down. Some more wrinkles there. And then, so I'm making it fairly round. Those other ones were fairly flat. But hey, this is a baby. Babies have lots of round parts to them. So now I said I was going to bring that tail up. So I think I'll erase this line here. And let's add a little bit of I don't like that. All right. There, that's better. It was too thin, too quick. Maybe I'll thicken it up there too a little bit. Didn't sketch that part in as I changed it from what I originally drew, so. It's the good part about digital. It's very easily corrected. There. And then just to give a little more feel of, and then there would be a shadow here too. So there's some shadow there. And then I like to draw like a wrinkles for a knee type of thing. And then maybe a muscle for the leg right there. Trying to look at the elephant to see if there's anything else, maybe something like that. And then just an indication of some roundness that belly goes under. Something like I don't know what the musculature is, but sometimes you kind of fake it as you go. And again, get the feel for the roundness of that neck coming out. It's not flat. And then I like some musculature there. Maybe something like that. I'll take some of that out. That's not working for me. So let's zoom in on the head. With all the focus and stuff on the body, the head is still a part that really matters. So draw the eye, the top of that eyebrow for those reptiles that had that sort of thing. Now this is going to be a smiley, cute dinosaur. So and then we'll have him look back at the camera. And then the nose comes down. And there we go. And then I think I want to draw like a little indication of the eyebrow on the other side. Maybe like a little ear, dinosaur ear type of thing, reptile ear. A little touch of detail there. And there's our baby sauropod dinosaur. Now, the one last little touch I'll add, well, okay, you got me. I'm going to add a little bit of, I think it just adds weight or substance to that tail was just two lines coming back, and I think it just needed something. So, all right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put this on the ground. It kind of is floating in the air right now, but let's add some lines for shadow. Again, the word shadow. Where it's on the ground. You can tell instantly, oh, that sets it right there on the ground, and the shadow would continue where the tail is. And that makes a big difference right there. So again, our drawing for today was a little different. Let's take the sketch out. There's our, and move this up a little bit so you can get that out of the way. And then how do we finish our drawings? We sign our name. And then I put .com because I have a website. that you guys can check out and look at the artwork and such. So there's a very different dinosaur from what we've been doing over the past couple of days anyway. And I hope that that was instructional for you. Check out Job chapter 40 in the Bible. Read about Behemoth. Think about what the description says. And then if you've got footnotes that say elephant or hippopotamus, you know that that's not right. That a tail like a cedar tree is not what that elephant has right there. That's not a cedar tree. So, all right. Thanks for watching, and join me next time for Draw Along with Dan. Thanks for watching.